Hey everybody, welcome back to the Day One podcast. I'm Brett Nord.
I'm Adam Daly.
Looking forward to some more discussion, Adam. How are we doing?
Yeah, the most nerve-wracking episode to this date.
Why is that?
Because I'm on the spotlight now.
Yes! I was going to say we have a special guest. And it's the guy right across from me. Gonna have fun.
I'm better as the interviewer as opposed to the interviewee. But hey, no, I'm excited to talk about my use of Day One, what I do, etc. That'll be fun.
I've been looking forward to this
It'll
one.
be a good time.
I've got some really
good
great
stuff.
questions for you. Yeah, well, yeah. You ready?
Well, we'll get there in a second. I want to mention real briefly we have had some emails in response to our ask for your use of Siri shortcuts in Day One. Great. So we're gonna get those together and kind of work on an episode, maybe even a roundtable discussion, right? Yes, that's kind of what we want to do for that. Mm-hmm. Talk about how we can get the most out of Siri shortcuts, or even the Shortcuts app, which I'm not 100% familiar with as far as like creating my own, processes there. Sure. But there are some great ones that you can find that people have already created. Yeah. And there's some really cool ones where it'll have a bunch of different prompts. You can use it every single day. A good alternative to reminders and templates. Mm-hmm. You can use shortcuts instead. Mm-hmm. So
I love that it's a recipe, so you can actually go in and customize any step that you want. So somebody does all the heavy lifting, does most of the work. You just get to go in and customize it.
That's what I need.
Yeah, totally.
Somebody to do the heavy lifting.
Yes.
Unless it's actual heavy lifting, and then I'm okay. I'm good helping it. Like if you need help moving, you call me. I'll come help.
Good to know.
Right?
Where's your radius? How far will you travel?
Probably just this valley. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, well.
I mean, if you're getting me out of the country to help you move, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would love to travel abroad and help you move.
Sure. Nice. Good to know.
Send us an email if you want me to do that.
Yeah.
I need some expenses covered.
What's new with Day One?
Nothing released yet, but still working hard on different things. We're on internal beta 15 of Day One version 3 on Mac. Mm-hmm. And it's looking really good. It's looking really polished. We're all, as we get each build, we're downloading it, we're opening it up, we're testing it out, and trying to give the team as much feedback as possible to get this project done. I know their goal is to have it released this month, so February 2019. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. I will always say that. I'm going to say always with any sort of release estimate that I give. Sure. Take that with a grain of salt because things do change, but the goal is to have it released in February 2019. So
there's quite a few grains of this salt, though. It's
true.
Like this isn't saying it's going to be out tomorrow. This is saying within 30 days. It's looking good.
But yeah, it's a good looking app. I really like the parity between iOS and Mac. Mm-hmm. Just the look is really nice. Mm-hmm. How it's going to handle the photos with the same algorithm that iOS has. I'm excited for that. Yeah. And the editor as well. It'll be a lot like iOS where you can choose your headers and stuff like that beforehand. So really, really good looking stuff. The menu bar, the quick entry menu bar thing is being updated as well on Mac. So be aware of that. The other updates on the back end. So we mentioned this a number of months ago when Day One had that longer than usual outage. Mm-hmm. The plan has been since that time, look for an alternative managed sync service. Now, I can't go into a lot of details about that just because I don't know them as someone who is not an engineer, but the idea is to move to a new managed sync service where we reduce or eliminate those entire possibilities, okay? So that's what the server team has been hard at work on, and it's no small task, especially managing all the existing data that we have now. Sure. And anybody who's got encrypted data, we want to maintain that, just move it over and everything's fine. So all of those considerations are being reviewed and handled. Mm-hmm. So that's what they've been working on, which has delayed the web app. Mm-hmm. There is someone on the web team that is working on an Instagram importer, which I'm also very excited about. This will, as opposed to like IFT or the activity feed, will allow you to pull in all historical data. And as long as you keep it connected, every time you post again to Instagram, it's automatically imported into Day One.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's really cool. Mm-hmm. So that's on the docket for iOS. We've got some engineers working on bug fixes there and video support. Mm-hmm. So that's still being developed. Very excited about that. Videos are going to be great in Day One. We don't have any details yet on limitations. When we have that information or when it's available to the public, we'll let you know. But
what do you mean limitations?
As far as like length of video, etc.
Oh, right, sure.
I don't, because I'm sure we don't want like full length
right
HD movies.
Sure. Yes.
On the server, but I don't know. I can't say that, but that's when we have that information, we'll let everybody know.
Sounds great.
So, yeah, that's everybody, right? Android, still working on that. I know people want to know about Android. I don't have any answers yet. As soon as we do, we'll let you know. But we're definitely looking on, how to move forward on that. Yeah. So,
one thing we didn't talk about a few weeks ago when we talked about shortcuts and the idea that we wanted to give it more time in the future. Have you listened to the Automators podcast that's with David Sparks?
Not yet. Oh, you sent me a link, didn't you?
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet.
It's really great. So if anyone that's interested, I recommend checking that podcast out. The David Sparky does a lot, Mac Sparky, so he'll do Mac Power Users, which is a great podcast as well. He does one about free agents or freelance work. Cool. But this one is all about automation. They just did one a few weeks ago that was all about journaling.
Nice.
And of course, they love day one, which is awesome.
Save yourself some time. Use shortcuts.
Yeah.
No, I love the idea. If I just, I should take some time and learn how to actually build my own recipes, make them work.
It's definitely nerdy, kind of geeky, but it's fun. Like Roseanne that does it, Rosemary that does the show, she does some that are tracking what TV shows and movies she watches. That automatically brings it in from another feed.
No, I see the value in that. Early on when I was using Launch Center Pro, which was another third-party app that you could build in, kind of like the old, what did shortcuts used to be called? Workflow
before they bought the
app. Right. From Apple. So very similar. Launch Center Pro was very similar, but people had written Launch Center Pro, recipes or shortcuts or whatever, and I could launch in and do like a movie review or something, and I kept like a movie review journal. Right. And then I realized that's really not part of my personality, so I ditched that. But I like the idea of that. Like maybe there is a template I can use, maybe for my gratitude journal, maybe for something else. But I love the idea. It's fantastic, and I do use this one template that I have. I'll put a link below if you want it.
Yeah, awesome. So, we'll also link to this podcast because David also shares one of his workflows, which is his walking meditation. Cool. So say how much time did I do? He uses an emoticon to explain, what he got from the session, and it's really slick. So recommend checking that out.
And we've had requests for a mood tracking feature in day one. I honestly, a lot of people I've talked to use emojis to do that. Put an emoji on how you felt today. Right. Now, granted, that's like if you're filtering, you have to filter just by one of those as opposed to all of them. But like you could filter. I mean, you couldn't filter by all the ranges of moods. As a tag. But you could filter like by smiley face or whatever, and like see on what days you were happy or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's just a somewhat of an alternative to an actual mood tracking feature. Is use emojis.
Yeah, I don't see myself doing that, but
no. That's fine. To each their own.
That's
right.
That's you do you.
My philosophy with journaling has you define journaling. Right. You define it for yourself and stick to it.
That's right. Good. You ready to talk? It's time. We've talked about every department in day one except customer service.
This is true. This is actually true.
Which is a huge part of the business and what we do every day is taking care of our customers. So
it's true.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So should we put any disclaimers ahead of time? No, I'm just kidding.
The disclaimer is I've told you no questions off limits. Or I should say
Brett did say that.
I said
I didn't say that. You said that.
That's right.
I
no answers
hesitantly agreed to it.
Yes, you did. I got some zingers. It's going to be fun. Questions.
I'm tied in a chair right now, but I don't have a choice. So if anyone's wondering, right. I don't have a choice for this.
No, it's going to be good. And half of it is to see how you do under pressure.
Fair enough.
Improv, so
fair enough.
Here we go. First, let's start with some easy ones.
Okay.
To kind of get you in the mood of it. The most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you that you've never told anybody else. Just kidding. Unless you want to do it.
Well, here's the thing. I've told everyone my embarrassing stuff. I'd like to think I have no shame, but obviously I will. I'd go red in the face if something embarrassing happens to me. But
sure.
And also another sense, like, it is what it is, right? I've done many stupid things. Sure. I remember standing up in front of a junior high class and my fly was down and I didn't know about it. And so people were snickering, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on until I sat down and somebody was like, hey, dude. So, like, what can I do about that, Oh, well, just, own it and move on.
Is that why now every time you stand up you check your fly?
I check, yeah.
I noticed that. That's where that
But yeah,
came
no,
from.
I don't have a ton of embarrassing stories just because that I haven't told anyone at least.
Sure.
Because sometimes I'll be like, hey, you should hear this story.
It's a good
This is
political
a good
answer. You got out of it.
winger.
Yeah.
I won't make it in politics. I'll just tell you that right now.
Sure. No, let's start with some real easy
Okay,
ones. So,
yeah.
favorite movie. Let's talk about your personal things you love.
See, have you ever seen High Fidelity?
I love it.
See,
Yeah.
I'm like John Cusack when it comes to that
Sure.
kind of stuff. Is it like favorite movie right now,
Right.
favorite movie of 1990s,
Sure.
favorite movie when I was growing up? That's
Sure.
that's a hard one to sell. I'll tell
It
you
is.
one movie that I've had a hard time getting over, and it's not because the movie plot itself is complicated, but I loved the visuals. I loved kind of the idea, and I loved the soundtrack. And that this is what I'm embarrassed to admit. Oblivion.
Wow, really?
Now, it's an older movie. I just recently
Yeah.
seen it for the first time because it was on sale on iTunes, and I was like, well, why not?
Yeah.
I watched it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good flick.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Cruise is what Tom Cruise is, but
Sure.
he's a darn good stuntman.
Yeah.
And,
That was a great movie.
It was,
I
right?
forgot about that.
And
Yeah.
now I listen to the soundtrack like at least once a day. M83 was part of the soundtrack on that one.
What is?
M83. It's
it's
a
a band. Sure.
yeah.
Yes.
So, Oblivion right now.
Good. Okay, great. Related to that, favorite band.
Jimmy Eat World.
I knew
hands
that.
down. That's
Yep.
my favorite band.
Took you a second to think of that.
Yeah, no, that started in 1998, early 1998. The emo scene was coming out,
Sure.
and I've just followed them to this day. They released a record last year. I've been to as many concerts as I can. I've got a couple of set lists up on my
Yeah,
wall
I
right
can
there.
see them. Wow. Not Beatles or classic.
I appreciate the Beatles for what they contributed, but I do not listen to them on a regular basis.
Fair enough.
Good. I'm grateful for the groundwork that they laid.
Yes. Yes.
But as far and I'm a very lyrical person. Like, not that I'm good at writing lyrics, but I love
Appreciate.
I love interpreting deep lyrics, thoughtful lyrics.
That's great.
Not like a Katy Perry song, where while
Sure.
it may have its place on my
Sure.
iPod, for dancing around.
You just admitted that you have Katy Perry. In your
That's okay. Taylor Swift, absolutely. Why not?
Okay. Fair enough.
Get to know
That's what I
your
love about
customer
you.
support manager. He is a real human being with his flaws. Okay.
Yes, indeed. I love it. Transparency. We know that you do another podcast.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So it all started a couple years ago when I started a podcast about the TV show Lost. A friend and mine were doing it. The premise was I have seen Lost several times all the way through,
Right.
and he had never seen it. And so we watched every episode and talked about it, joked about it. It was meant to be a comedy podcast, but it had some analytical points in there as well. We finished Lost. We did a couple of other things after that, like character analysis. We did whole season binge episodes where we'd watch a whole season at a time and like analyze the arc and stuff like that. But we've moved on from Lost just because we were kind of running out of content there, and I didn't want to trying to figure out what to do it on. So my co-host Clint and I are now doing a movie review podcast where we're just watching movies, old and new, movies that he hasn't seen, movie that I haven't seen, just kind of talking about them, analyzing them, and that,
Fun.
And it's our personalities. I think that people came from getting Lost over to our new show because they enjoyed our banter, our chemistry, and so So I do a show that analyzes movies right now.
Kind of scratches your itch of what you've done in the past, improv in high school or college.
I have a performing background. I was actually a theater major for the first few years of college, and then I wanted to actually make a living, so I got out of that. Not that you can't.
Sure.
I'm just not Tom Cruise.
Right.
But so this podcasting kind of scratches a performance itch that I have all the time.
Just so you know, if I could go have a drink with Tom Cruise or you, I would take you.
Aw.
You'd be way more fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I won't try to convert. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, last question, then we'll get on to the day one stuff. This is one that Tim Ferriss will ask sometimes on his show, his podcast. If you could have a billboard in every major city with one message on it, what would it be? Right? That's a deep one. Get you thinking.
Oh, my gosh.
Message to the world.
What would I not waste?
Right.
I don't even know. I'll have to I'll have to study that and get back to you.
We'll come back.
I don't even know. Do I want anybody to know anything?
We'll come back.
I would
Think
tell
about it.
people about my podcast if I could
Really?
do that. Yeah.
Not world peace. Be nice to each other.
Nobody's going to listen to that. Look, I'm not trying to be like pessimistic.
Sure.
I do consider myself a realist though.
Yeah.
I would love world peace, but it's going to take more than just the work of a few of us.
Yeah. Wow.
Did I just get down on everybody now?
Kinda.
Sorry.
That's good. So self-promotion is what you're saying. You'd
Why
rather
not?
promote yourself than your pod. Well, and it's fun. So
Yeah.
maybe you think of it that way, deeper.
Well, here's why. We have made a bunch of connections with people, and that has been by far the best part of doing the podcast. It's not even like recording or coming up with funny jokes on the fly or anything like that. The real amazing part has been connecting with other lovers of media like us. Right. And so people will write into us from all over the world, which is it just blows our mind. Like to this day, when we get a new email from a new listener, we're like, holy cow! Yeah. Somebody else is talking to us. Yeah. So I've met people all over the world just through the show, and it's been amazing. So
same happens with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been great.
We get to meet and talk to a lot of cool people. So
yeah.
That's why.
Let's talk day one.
Let's do it.
So how did you get to day one? What's your background in getting here?
I've been in customer support for a long time. Let's just say that. Yeah. It wasn't something I was looking to get into. I was actually trying to teach in secondary education. I didn't like how that was going. I'm frustrated with some things in the Department of Education. I won't go into that. This is not a political podcast, but it just kind of led me down a different path. So I ended up at eBay for a number of years. I worked in a couple of back office positions there, some customer facing, some not, and just working hard at that. Before that, I was also a trainer for AT&T customer support representatives. So teaching them how to help provision people's phones or whatever, whatever that entailed. So I've got a pretty large background in that. And then a friend of mine let me know that Day One was hiring a part-time position. I thought, hey, that would be cool. I could work from home. I could, do a part-time thing.
Were you using Day One at that point?
My wife was.
Okay.
I hadn't been yet.
Good for her.
But so this was back when Classic was still the main app, version 1. And so I was like, sure, let's do this. Let's send this in. It'll be like a supplemental income. I can kind of do it on my own time. And I applied for a job. And I actually didn't hear back for 6 months.
Wow.
I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm still doing okay here at eBay. Yeah. But then, like at the 6-month mark, I got an email saying, we'd like to interview you. And so we had this little back and forth a little bit, and it worked out for both of us, and I joined the team. So this was April 2016.
Okay.
So
great.
That's my journey.
Good stuff.
And man, that's coming up on 3 years now.
Yeah.
3 full years at Day One.
That's awesome.
I'd like to say I know everything, but I'm still learning.
Well, it's because software changes.
Software changes.
It's always going to be moving. Keeps you guessing.
It's dynamic.
So tell us a little bit about a day in a life. Like take us through a day, not all the details, but just kind of an overview. What does your day look like when you're dealing with customer?
So, as we've talked about, like Day One is a small team. There's me and 2 part-time customer support reps. Shout out to Ryan and Cameron. So thank you for your help. And they also have other responsibilities that they work on as well, like QA, kind of tracking our conversations, making sure we're addressing the needs that have more impact and severity and stuff like that. So shout out to those guys. But what I typically do is when I first start working, it's generally check the social media sites for any customer support stuff. So I'll get on Twitter, I'll get on Facebook.
Katy Perry and Taylor Swift's line. Yeah. That's what you mean by check in on what's new.
Is that what it is?
Social media?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Day One?
Day One. Okay. No, I'm not. Well, I see what you're saying. Am I? No. Checking in on the customer support questions on Twitter and Facebook. Okay. But yeah, check in on those first, and then dive right into the emails that we've received overnight, and the responses that I've gotten or new ones that I need to do, and then do QA testing on my own for the apps, for the betas that we're running. Try to reproduce issues that have already been logged and make sure we've got all the steps ready. Because there's a lot that goes into software that I didn't realize. I figured there was something, but like seeing the minutia behind it really makes you kind of appreciate what software engineers do. I have a whole new respect.
Same.
Ever since I started working here. for software engineers. Just, there's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating for us too when, an issue comes up and either we can't reproduce it or, whatever the issue is. Because we don't want to leave that customer hanging. We want to help them out, but we also need to be able to see how it's breaking.
Sure.
In order to fix it. So I have a whole respect for software engineers, and so that's what I spend my time doing, like working with customers, figuring out what the issue is, how do we fix it, do we need to create an issue that it needs to be updated, etc.
Is this a one-off or is this a known issue?
Right. And then I also manage the help guides, all the tutorials, tips, all of those pages. So I'll go through and make sure that those are updated. And there's probably some that are still not updated, but we have quite a few of them.
You need a hat stand in your office for all the different hats. You going back and forth among a lot of different things.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep. We do have someone doing our Instagram stuff, which is really nice. A lot more curated content right now. So shout out to Juice Lake for doing that. He's a great support in that.
As always, give us feedback too. What you think of it? Any suggestions? Just like you do with the podcast and others.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much my day is working with the users. Honestly.
Yeah. Do you have a story or a case that comes out in your mind of a memorable turnaround or an experience of somebody dealing with customer service?
I probably couldn't like pinpoint like a name or anything like that or a time, but any time where a user may have lost content.
I thought you were going to say.
Right? Well, it's the most satisfying, right?
Yeah, totally.
Let me just say this, like whatever opinions anyone might have of day one, like one of our number one goals is protecting user data. Like if you don't feel safe, if you don't trust us, then it's, this relationship isn't going to work. But like, so we want to build that trust. That's probably me. It's probably my phone, whatever. Yeah. We want to build that trust with our user base. And if they've lost data, like that's a frustrating, sometimes heartbreaking issue to go through. And I can only imagine. I don't want that to ever happen to my stuff. What am I going to do with all these pictures and words that I've written over the past 3 years now? So anytime, which there are other avenues to do data recovery, when I can do that, and a customer's like, yes, thank you, that makes my day.
Totally.
Like it's not me. They probably did most of the work on their device to try and get this data back. Sure. But if I can guide them to that place, like total job satisfaction right there.
When they weren't expecting it to be saved. Like, oh, that's so great.
Yep.
Good answer. I like it. If you could change one thing about the company, what would it be?
Good question. I don't know. I could less Diet Coke in the office. That's probably not very valid. No, I honestly think it runs quite well, and I think the relationship between Paul, who is the head designer of the app, and all of the engineers and support staff, like we all kind of share in the vision, or we talk to each other about, what will work and what won't work, and that is like my favorite part of this job is the collaboration that I think ultimately it's going to come down to one or two people making the final say, but the collaboration beforehand and the ideas we generate together is really a cool relationship. Yes. I love, so this is totally not answering your questions.
Okay.
I love the speed at which, the engineers can look at an issue and go, yeah, we can fix that. Let's get that out and like get it done in a pretty quick turnaround, where that might not happen with larger companies that are dealing with a lot more issues, Sure. So I love those aspects of the company. I hope they never change. Honestly, I can't think of, I'd have to study it out again and be like, you know what, maybe we could do better in this.
Sure.
I don't know.
That's good. How about the direction of the company or something you're excited about in 2018?
Writing prompts, very excited about that. I think that'll be a huge hit with a lot of users, especially for some of us that have a hard time getting started. I don't write every day in my journal. And then sometimes when I try to force myself to sit on, when it doesn't come naturally, I'll sit down and be like, okay, what am I going to write about? I guess I could just describe my day, but maybe a writing prompt in there will get those juices flowing, and then I can tell that story a little more organically.
Sure.
But yeah.
That's mine too. Excited.
So writing prompts, I think, is a huge one. The other part of the vision I love is that the goal is to be the best journaling app. We're not trying to be this multi-utility app or anything like that. We want to be the best journaling app.
Right.
And I think working towards that, we're going to get there. So
nice. Good stuff. All right. That's enough of the
none of this
Daly.
is scripted. None of this is scripted either, by the way.
No.
Like I'm just
Of course.
thinking off the fly about what I love about Day One. So
exactly.
just in case you think I'm, being prompted to say any of this, this is all natural.
Right. Exactly. All right. Now we're going to get onto your use of Day One.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually going to pull it up. Is that cool?
Sure. Yes. In fact, I'm going to heads up. I'm going to ask you for your first entry. So you can start looking at that. What is your first entry? But while you're doing that,
in which journal? See, I've got a million. I've got like 10 journals here.
Your oldest. Your
just
first
oldest entry.
First entry that you have on record.
Okay.
Of any journal.
Does it have to have been created in Day One?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. As opposed to imported in from another journal.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that'll be easy then. I'll tell you exactly what it was.
Because I remember you talking on a past podcast about having an entry about your interview, right?
Yes.
With Day One, and that was from another journal that you imported in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
that's why I'm going
organic.
That's why I'm going back here. Because I did import a bunch of stuff. I had an old Word doc that I wanted to get all my stuff in here.
Wow.
Okay, here it is. March 17th, 2016. Should I read it to you? It's
Yes.
pretty funny. Today I told someone at Day One that I might be interested in working for them, and they told me, I told them my salary expectations, and they're still looking to interview me. That's pretty cool, so I'm trying out their app.
Nice. Now this was after the 6-month wait period, or this was?
Yeah, so this is the end of the 6-month period.
Okay. Nice.
I had applied,
Sure.
didn't hear anything back, and then I got an email saying we'd like to interview, and I was like, okay, because they asked me to do full time, and I was like, well, I've got this job now, it's going to have to be comparable, and they're like, okay, cool, we still want to interview, and I was like, great.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to me.
Yeah. It seemed kind of emotionless, though. Were you excited? Were you anticipating, anxious? I can't really read your tone there.
I don't think I knew at that point because, in one camp, I'm going from this, multi-billion-dollar company.
Right.
It's got its
Sure.
feet set in there, right? Very stable, to a more of a startup company.
Yeah,
so I was nervous.
Sure.
But I was also excited at this new venture.
Right.
I was excited to have a little more independence. I was excited to work, for a small company. And so starting that day for like a year, I wrote every single day in Day One.
That's great.
I just kept going. I really liked it. I was trying it out. I was getting used to it. And, but so Day 1 2 had already come out by that point. I downloaded Day 1 Classic. Then I downloaded Day 1 2 on this day, Thursday, March 17th.
Great. Fun.
And then just kept using it.
Nice.
So
tell us about your Adam Daly use of Day One.
So I do use reminders.
Good.
They do fire every day. I don't answer them every day. That's just, I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But I use on this day notifications because I love seeing my entries from past years. The daily prompt notification I do have on my phone, and then I have a location history prompt that will go off every night and say, you've been to X number of locations. Do you want to do an entry? And then I have one personal reminder that is for my gratitude journal. So that'll go off. That's not every night, is it? Do I have that option?
Do you find, you're getting a lot of notifications. Do you find that most of the time you're stopping to do the entry, or it's just a mental cue like, oh yeah, I got to remember to do that later?
Depends. Honestly, it's like my response to, would you like your receipt? It's not based on anything, and it changes all the time. So,
I see.
So
Yeah.
yes, I will respond
Okay.
sometimes as it fires because I'm in that moment. I can do it. Or other times it's like, oh, I can't right now. I'll just, let the notification dismiss so it's still on my notification screen, and then I can get back to it. So it varies. I mean, I've argued about being consistent. This is my consistency.
I love it.
It's happily inconsistent.
Yes.
No, but I still get like 3 or 4 entries per weekend. And I feel that's good. If I'm hitting that mark, I'm consistent.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to look at my other reminder here.
Good.
Oh, it does. This one is daily, but I'm going to reduce that to like 3 times a week. It's my gratitude journal.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to feel like I'm making it up. You know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a pitfall. I'm like, I guess I'm grateful for this. I want it to come out. I want to be like, you know
genuine.
what? This happened to me today. I want to be grateful for this. So, yeah, I'm going to switch that one up. But I think the reminders are a great tool. Otherwise, I might be distracted and get into too many other things. You know what I do also love as well is the audio recording on the watch, because I'll be getting my kids ready for bed, tap the microphone recorder while they're reading me a story, or I'm reading them a story, or we're just having a nighttime conversation.
Right.
And I love those little moments.
Yes.
So that's another way I journal as well.
Awesome. Love that. What's your favorite feature?
On this day, hands down. I love going back and seeing the years past. Those are fun. Yeah.
Good.
I love full screen on iPad now. I'm grateful for that. I do a
yeah.
lot of landscape writing on iPad. Yeah.
Totally. Okay, least favorite or anything that bothers you about the app that you wish would be different?
I think I'm in the camp with other people. It's not a bothersome thing. I can't wait for it to be improved kind of feeling. The photo layouts in books.
Yes.
Because I have, I've got like that's probably 10, 12 books there. I do have some and I like them. I just want them to be even better.
Yeah. More customizable.
Right. Just maybe more pictures on a page or something, however we can do that and reduce white space. I think that's a key for me. That's one of my biggest asks.
That is big. Good.
And as soon as that happens, I'm ordering 2018 books. So I'm told it's not too far off. Well, I'm told it's not too far off. And I think I've mentioned that to a few of our listeners. If you're wondering, the team does want to implement the same photo layout algorithm that's in our app right now on iOS into the books and PDF exporting. So they maintain their aspect ratio and they look better. So when that comes to book printing, that's when I'll order. So I'm holding off at this point.
You're not alone.
No, I know. Absolutely. Book printing has been, it's always around the end of the year or the beginning of the year when we hear most about book printing. I think that's generally what people think as well. And so we've heard that feedback as well. And we're gathering all of that, making sure that it's tracked and the team knows.
Good. So is there anything about your use of day one that I haven't asked that you want to talk about?
Well, just maybe my different journals.
Oh, yeah.
Should we talk about those?
Yes.
So I don't use a lot of tags. In fact, I
remember that.
I don't think I tag at all unless it's just for like testing purposes. But I use separate journals. So I have my main journal, which is pictures and comments about what I did kind of mundanely, I guess, or maybe highlights as well, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Just kind of an all-encompassing thing. Taking pictures of my kids, vacations, I had a really nice meal at this place with my, whatever. And then I have a tickets journal, which was inspired, I think, both by Paul and Dallas.
Cool.
Where I take a picture of my ticket stubs or a screenshot if it's a digital ticket, and then I put that in a journal with the location, time, and who I went with. Awesome. So I've got movie stubs, I've got concerts, I've got hockey games, jazz games, soccer games, etc., all in this tickets journal, and I don't have to keep around little scrappy pieces of paper.
Love it.
Less garbage, but I still have those cool memories, my own little scrapbook, and then I'll print those out and have a little book of what I did this past year or whatever. So awesome. I think that's fun. I've been doing this one for my youngest's preschool pictures. It started out as kind of a funny thing. We took the picture the first day of school, like you do, right?
Sure.
And then every day after that, he's like, "We got to take my picture."
He's lining up, ready.
Right? So
come on, Dad.
Now it's like every day as we go to school, we have to take his picture.
Love that.
And so, I just started a journal just for that. So I'm going to have a year full of his pictures for preschool, kind of see his evolution.
Sure.
Anyway. And then I have a work journal. I just take down work notes and stuff like that whenever I'm in a meeting or anything like that. A couple of test journals just for day one. As far as hey, this, a user says they're having this issue, I'm going to try and reproduce it in one of those test journals, to see what I can do and how to fix it, etc. So I just have 2 journals that's not going to mess up anything else. One's encrypted, one's not. Then I do my podcast notes all in day one, all of them. My gratitude journal, my activity journal. This was I was doing this pretty religiously for a while, where I would actually like screenshot from the health app.
Oh, that's
I'm showing Brett
idea.
right now.
Yeah,
I was screenshotting like, where I walked or ran or biked, and then including the details of that exercise thing, because we don't have health kit integration. So this was kind of my manual way of doing that.
I like that. And then you've tagged that Apple Watch so you can find it.
Did I tag it?
Yes, I hashtag Apple.
Oh, that's right. Cool.
Cool.
So I think it was because I was sharing this from the health thing or something.
I see. That
I was
added.
sharing it to. How was I doing that?
Yeah, you can share from day one from.
No, I mean from the Health Kit app. I think I was sharing my workout details to day one, and so the text up there is from the Apple Watch or whatever, the health app, and so it includes this hashtag Apple Watch. Anytime, like if you have the setting on, there's a setting in day one where you can choose to make tags out of hashtags. So that's on. So that's a tag on.
Cool.
Little tip there if you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Anything else here? And then I do have, a long time ago, we did try to test out the Instagram importation. So I do have a journal with a lot of my Instagram stuff in there. But it'll be better next time when it's finally done. So those are my journals.
Very cool. Your work journal, do you go back and purge old notes, old meeting notes or stuff that you don't need anymore? Just let it go?
No. Okay. I let them all, I keep them all in there, and then I can, if I ever need to reference back to them, I will.
Search.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Good to get
So those are my journals.
I love it.
Pretty easy going. I mean, I try not to overcomplicate it because I don't want to push myself away from it or make it too daunting.
Do you have any goals in this new year to do anything differently with your journal, like a long-term plan or strategy? You're like, I want to work toward this.
Yeah. Well, I haven't thought about it until just now.
Sure. Yep.
Because of the question.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say that I want to. Day one's little catchphrase is capture life as you live it.
Right.
I want to do better at the living part. I think I do okay at capturing it and documenting it. Right. Now I need to do the other part better. Be in the moment, put the devices down, go and live, and then I'll have something better to document. And I think Kendra talked about that a little bit, where she thought back on her year and she thought, I just, I didn't get everything done, or I didn't do that much. But her, I think she came to the conclusion that she just wasn't writing it down. She had done quite a bit.
Totally.
And maybe that's true for me as well. But I also want to be more conscious about, putting this stuff away, getting outside, going doing more, focusing on experiences. And that's something that my family's been working on is instead of like buying a whole bunch of Christmas presents or holiday presents, let's do experiences. Let's go on a trip instead. Let's save our money and do, X.
Yes.
Go explore. So that's kind of what I want to do. That's my goal.
In a word, being deliberate.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be more deliberate about what you
that.
do and intentional.
I like that a lot.
Good stuff.
Because, what's the point if I've got a bunch of boring memories about eating avocado toast and, what? Okay, sure, maybe that's my journal routine, and that's fine. I'm not trying to dog on that. What I'm saying is I feel like I want more stuff to write down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Does to me.
All right. As long as it does to you.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's going to come away from this episode going,
no,
we should have had a different guest.
No, you're great. This is good stuff. And I think it's important, just like when we have other guests on, just to know how unique, custom,
true,
one size does not fit all, and everyone makes it what it is. We've got a lot of power users. I'd love to hear more from them, and we're going to talk about that, with shortcuts. Well,
and I think to another point as well, having me talk about this is most of us at Day One are users. We're not just pushing this out on the world and saying good luck.
Right.
Most of us are using this on a daily basis. I remember Ryan, before he started at Day One as a part-time customer support rep, he used it quite frequently, and he would email in all the time, and be like, I'd love this feature, feature requests, or he'd notice a bug before we did and report it, and that's fantastic. And now he can see as he comes here, because he still is. We're mostly all users of Day One. We're all using it as just human beings.
We got to find out who's not using it, so we can say everyone.
Hey, yes, push them on there.
That's right.
But like a lot of the bugs that people write in, we've also seen because we're using it as well.
Yep.
Or hang-ups that happen.
Sure.
It's possible that one of us have seen those things. And so I hope that brings us closer to our users is my point.
It certainly enriches our lives.
Yeah, well, we're in the same boat as our users,
Yeah.
right? We want it to work just like you do, Right. So that's our passion.
Good stuff.
And I think that makes it more of a deliberate app. Like we all want it to work as well, and so we're going to put that kind of effort into it. We're going to put something out that we're proud of.
Right on. Sounds good.
Yeah.
How we doing?
No, that's great. That's a good app right there.
Let's just see. I was going to check update on the Day One community, Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Continually love to see participation there. We're over to 4,000 users, so 4,200.
Yes.
We've got an event coming up, which is our book club, end of February.
27th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
That's
UTC -7.
Good.
Stephanie Sikora will be leading that for us. So read up on her book, Simplified. It's on Amazon.
I posted a few days ago that I had a little minor back surgery, so I was down on my back, and now I'm back. So all those plays of the word back.
He's back in black.
Yeah, actually I am.
Yeah, I know. Black T-shirt. That's
good job. But while I was down, I got to read a lot.
Good.
And I read Simplified.
Awesome.
So
Brett's ready to go.
I am. Don't come look at my house because I haven't been able to get up and move.
He hasn't started it yet.
Do it yet.
You got to implement those ideas.
On my head, yeah. But Stephanie was right. I think when we talked to her, she mentioned her brother that even got some takeaways from it. And I went into it going, there's a lot about taking care of your house and like cleaning your house. And my wife, fortunately, loves that and takes the lead. But I think it's awesome. I started reading some things in there, some tips, management that I can apply more than just room management, but digital. And it's good stuff. Be more intentional. Back to that point, she talks a lot about that.
Cool.
A lot of science behind it. It's good.
I think it's worth making an effort towards. Like if that's something that you feel you could use more of in your life, make it a goal for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? I have to give a shout out to all the users on there that ask questions, and then all of you that answer them as well.
Yes.
You are all a big help to each other. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your own passion for journaling. This is one of the coolest communities I've ever been a part of.
Agreed. So. Yep, for sure. Thank you. Great. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Looking forward to talking again in a couple of weeks.
More stuff. What our plans are, maybe we should preemptively announce this. I don't know if we don't want to set anything in stone perfectly just because we don't, timelines change. But our goal is to have our senior engineer back on the show as soon as version 3 is released on Mac. So we want to talk about the development of the Mac app, intricacies and differences between developing on Mac versus iOS or Android, and just talk about that and just, what went into it. What did we talk about? What ideas got, I don't know, maybe that might be fun. What ideas got rejected? Like, what did we include? I don't know. Something like that. But that's our goal, is to have our senior engineer back on to talk to him about, that's what we're hoping for. So if that happens, then we'll be excited to let you listen to that episode.
That's right. If not, it's another podcast of just your embarrassing moments.
That's right. That's more of my embarrassment.
No.
We could fill a book with those things, Brett. Don't worry. Anyway, thank you for joining us this week. Please follow us on social media. You can get us on Instagram and Twitter at Day1App. And then go to our Facebook.com/groups/Day1Community and join that if you're a part of Facebook. If you're not, we understand. No, we're not trying to hold any grudges, but it's been really successful, I think, where users come in, they talk about their own use cases, they ask questions. It's not a support center per se, but if you want to ask questions of the community, that is the best place to do it. You've got 4,200 other people there either having the same question or maybe they've got an answer for you.
Which I think is an awesome thing. We see that. Well, they'll say, is it just me? This is happening.
Right.
And others say, no, actually, it's a use case. Here's how you work around it. Or no, it's a known issue.
Yep.
Saves the time of trying to go to support.
But if you also need support, you can do that. If you go to day1app.com/contact, those are our support channels. There's a self-service through all of our help guides. There's a chat in the app in iOS, on iPhone, iPad, and also on Android. And then there's also ultimately an email. The chat one is the fastest way, if you ask me.
In-app chat.
Yeah, it's really smooth. And then you can keep the chat going and go back to conversations. So
and you answer those any time of the day or night, right?
So we have set support hours, but with the part-time employees, we do kind of branch out a little bit past that, just so we can reach international customers as well. So responses might come later on in the day or evening and stuff like that. but generally it's 9 to 5 Mountain Time.
Right.
But yeah.
Can I share with everyone your personal cell phone number in case they don't get through?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Get out of here. Yeah, just call me at home anytime.
Sure, why not?
Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
We're good. Thanks everyone for listening.
Stay tuned for all the updates that are coming. I promise. They're worth it.
Yeah.
So.
Take care.
Bye.